Are you a yes person or a no person? Now, to help you think about that for a minute, first consider this scenario. But for this to work, we have to remember way back to the time before COVID, or imagine the time in the future when so many of our choices are not defined by how much of a health risk we're taking by simply being around other people. It's okay, take a moment, sit back and luxuriate about the thought of going to a crowded dinner party and not worrying about anything more significant than maybe, I wonder how long that shrimp cocktail's been left sitting out. Remember that kind of world? Okay, so that is our fantasy reality. Here's the scenario. You've planned a quiet evening at home. Work's been really hard lately. You're behind on your personal to-do list, and you just need a night to relax, maybe have a glass of your favorite beverage, and watch an episode or three of The Crown. I mean, who knew Prince Charles was such a selfish whiner? Now, just as you're settling in, the phone rings. You can see it's a friend of yours, not your best friend, but someone you like a lot, so you answer to see what's up. And they have a favor to ask. They're repainting a guest bedroom. They're rushing to get ready for having some family staying with them for the holidays. And they're trying to get that project done. So if you could possibly do some of the paint rolling, they could get it knocked out in one night. Could you come over and help paint right now? I can just hear you grimacing and moaning. 1,000 thoughts run through your mind, all within a nanosecond. I was so looking forward to having this night off. I've been running myself ragged. I just need to relax and do nothing for a while. Self-care, yeah, that's it. But that sounds so lame. And why is my friend so disorganized anyway? They could have called me earlier in the week so I could plan on this, or it would have been easier to say no in advance. But here I am right now on the phone needing to give an answer. Do I make up some excuse? Do I tell a white lie? Do I admit that I have a deep need to know if Prince Charles has any redeeming qualities? One can always hope. On the other hand, if I say yes, then I'll truly be helping my friend. But will that be a slippery slope to every time they need help opening a jar of pickles? I'm expected to come over now? Will I feel guilty if I don't? Oh, I know. What would Jesus do? Oh, wait, he didn't paint. He was a carpenter. Can I just say no and not give a reason? Or maybe it would actually be kind of fun going over there and painting. Who knows? I don't know what to say, but you have to say something, yes or no. So what would you say? No judgment here. Some folks would not hesitate to say no, and some would not hesitate to say yes. They would never go through all that agonizing over it, but the fact is most of us do go through that agonizing, and it happens in an instant. We go through it even if we are good, smart people, which of course we are. We weigh a lot of factors. Our genuine need to care for ourselves, our time, our energy, and our need to be people who care about others and who help people in need. Now, saying no does not mean that you're not a nice person, because it is important to be self-aware and to set some boundaries. And saying yes does not automatically make you a hero either. People who say yes too often can get overextended and stressed out, and then it's hard to follow through on all of your commitments. But maybe asking if you're a yes person or a no person, that's not the right question, because we all tend to weigh whether we say yes or no based on so many variables. We might say yes for volunteering for a charity or the church, but no to helping our friend paint their guest bedroom. We're a mix of yes and no. Now, a psychologist would say that we always weigh the cost when we're making decisions. The old cost-benefit analysis. The thing is, we're not machines. We don't always go in the direction of what benefits us most. Some of the things we say yes to will never result in us gaining anything. In fact, we'll often say yes to doing things that involve a great deal of risk. or that'll be a ton of hard work with no personal gain whatsoever. Why would we ever do that? Because it's something we believe in, because it's a cause. A cause goes way beyond any cost-benefit analysis. And saying yes to a cause is how our world is transformed for good. John the Baptist, well, he's a fascinating and mysterious character, very charismatic if you're into wild-eyed prophets, and he had a following, so much so that he drew the attention of the authorities who wanted to know why so many people were committed to his message. And his message was the way the world was working was broken. People were being treated unjustly. The rich got richer and the poor got poorer. The people in power and those who claimed to speak for God, they were hypocrites, getting rich, sponging off the average citizen. But God was interested in justice and making things right, restoring a healthy balance where no one goes hungry and everyone is treated as a beloved child of God. And that day was coming and would happen soon. People were saying yes to John's message, even if they stood to gain nothing from it personally. In fact, it was dangerous to be seen around John. He represented a threat to the status quo, so the powers that be tried to trip him up occasionally by getting him to claim he was the Messiah, which would have been heresy and treason all at the same time. Not a good combo. But John's only claiming to be a messenger. His cause was God's cause, the one who had set things right. The Messiah was on the way, and now is the time to decide to say yes to God's vision of justice and peace in a hope-filled world, or to say no. Now, it's not a hypothetical question, even for you and me. In every generation, there are moments when we're forced to choose between yes and no, and saying, well, I'll just be neutral and do nothing, well, that really amounts to saying no. The cause that John the Baptist proclaimed lives on. There continues to be injustice in the world. We know that. And by world, I mean the part of the world where we actually have a say in how things are run. All politics are local, right? At our southern border, there are families who are separated and children in despair still living in conditions that we would never tolerate if those children were white and spoke English. Let's be honest, would we? But we either condone that or we turn a blind eye because we label people as less valuable based on their ethnicity. We dehumanize people, human beings who are seeking a better life and refuge from danger. Our attitude seems to be, well, tough luck for them, that they weren't born on my side of the border like I was. And no matter your skin color or your ethnicity, not everyone has the same economic opportunities. It's just a fact. If you've ever wondered why there's poverty in the world's greatest economy, and you've attributed that to a lack of their ambition or their effort, you don't know how poverty actually works, my friend. It's often generational, and breaking that cycle is something we don't seem all that interested in investing in. We'd rather blame the victim. And if we are white, we don't have the faintest idea of what it means to be black. We cannot fathom all the privileges, large and small, that you and I simply take for granted every day. And if that's ever pointed out to us, we become indignant, because to accept that systemic racism even exists, we've been told, presents a threat to our exalted position at the top of the heap. We're also told by the loudest voices that the religion founded in Jesus' name is all about wrapping yourself in a national flag and never questioning authority, discriminating against people who are not born straight, and being prosperous. Well, that means that God has blessed you. They say the world is divided between true believers and the ungodly, and the true believers must be in power. I could go on, but you get the picture. The world we live in is not all that different from the world of John the Baptist. It's the same world. We're on a continuum, and his cause is ours if we say yes to it. Saying yes means we adopt the cause as our own, to work today and to look forward to the day when everyone is treated as a highly valued and worthy child of God. Saying yes means that we don't just celebrate the coming of Christ in a couple of weeks as some kind of annual tradition, but we acknowledge and affirm that Christ arrives every day through our hands and feet and voices, that we are the yes the world needs right now. There's no cost-benefit analysis that needs to be done. This is not a question we ever need to agonize over. Individually and together as a church, our cause is no to injustice and yes to justice, no to division and yes to peace, no to despair and yes to hope, no to sorrow and yes to joy, no to hate and yes to love.